I didn't think Electronic Arts, of all companies, would be able to earn even a little bit of my respect back. And yet, Jim Vasella has done it again. It all started many years ago when EA made Command and Conquer, Red Alert, and Tiberian Sun available as freeware. There's been this kind of interesting dynamic with Command and Conquer over the last 20 something, 30 years even probably. These games are beloved by the community even today, even with some of the, more outdated mechanics. And the community has embraced the game. There's OpenRA, there's OpenSage, there's a ton of Command and Conquer games. And just a few years ago, when the remastered collection came out and EA open sourced Command and Conquer and Red Alert, that was a really awesome move on Electronic Arts' part. And by golly, they've done it again. They recently, like today, as of recording, they released a ton of source code under the GPL3, for God's sakes. We have CNC Remastered Collection, which they've been working on for years under an open source license. They've also released Generals under an open source license, Renegade under an open source license, and they also have modding support for these games. I mean, these games now are available on Steam, and they have Steam Workshop support. And so it's just so great to see. And I mean, like seriously, Command & Conquer Generals 0 Hour is now under a GPL3 license, guys. That is, I never ever thought that would happen. And yet here we are. And look, they have their own trademark terms in here, which is permissible under the GPL. And so, you can't redistribute this saying this is Command & Conquer, right? But you can patch the game. You can redistribute this as a spin, right, of these games. This is so cool. Now, the question is, why? Why are they doing this? Well, Jim Vasella here is a cheerleader for Command & Conquer. He's an EA executive. He's a producer of the Command & Conquer franchise. And basically, over the last few years, they've been wanting to take even more radical steps to embrace the community of CNC fans. And I gotta say, they're doing a good job. Last year, they launched the CNC Ultimate Collection on Steam, which I have to admit, I bought because I am a huge CNC fan. They were happy with it, but they wanted to have the community included here. And so shortly after the launch in 2024, they commissioned a community member, a veteran of CNC, Luke CC Hyper Feenan, to officially research improvements to the games that they had released on Steam. They gave him full access to the entire Command & Conquer archive at EA, and Luke proposed a couple ambitious ideas on behalf of the community, and over the past year, he's devoted himself to these initiatives. Now, if we scroll down here, what did he actually do? Well, he says it in his own words. Over the past year, I have been working alongside the amazing CNC stakeholders here at EA to restore the Perforce source code archives for the CNC games back into a buildable state, which now provide us with the ability to patch these classic games in a deeper way going forward. As a longtime modder, it was amazing to finally get a chance to deep dive into the source code for these games and see how they work. So I'll just keep reading. I mean, this is fascinating. For those of you in the community who know me, you'll be familiar with my strong advocacy for video game preservation and my support for the video game open source community. It's almost 5 years ago now that EA released the source code for the CNC Remastered Collection DLL files. This release received praise across the video game industry and has enabled the community to create amazing content for the Remastered Collection. In reaction to the restoration process of the CNC archives, I want to take this one step further. So I'm proud to announce that we are releasing the fully recovered source code for Command & Conquer, aka Tiberian Dawn, and CNC Red Alert under the GPL license. I know that this will empower those in the community who continue to create content for these classic entries in the franchise, and I hope it will aid communities like CNCnet to continue to support these games and keep them playable for future generations to come. But let's not stop there. The community over at W3D Hub have been doing amazing things with the CNC Renegade engine for almost 20 years now, and their project has been pushing the absolute limits of the game. To support them in making the game and their projects and their awesome projects to the next level, we're also releasing the complete source code for CNC Renegade under the GPL license. All of us here are really excited to see what's next in store for the community over at W3D Hub and what they'll be able to do with this release. And finally, in appreciation of the Generals community, who have kept the game alive with their consistent energy and passion, hosting multiplayer tournaments and producing amazing content, I'm extremely happy to share that we are releasing the full source code under GPL for CNC Generals and its expansion pack, 0 Hour. I know the Generals and 0 Hour community is going to do amazing things with this source code release, and I'm excited to see what the team over at CNC Online does next with the multiplayer experience for these games. They're also enabling Steam Workshop support for more CNC titles to allow users to upload their custom maps. We know this has been an ask from the community for a very long time, so we're pleased to finally give all of you map creators an official and permanent home on the Steam Workshop for your content. Now Steam Workshop support has gone live for CNC Renegade, CNC Generals and 0 Hour, Tiberium Wars and Kane's Wrath, Red Alert 3 Uprising, and Tiberium Twilight. This is super duper exciting. I am an unabashed Command & Conquer fan. I have been since I was a little child. I love Command & Conquer. It's one of the best game franchises in the world. And the fact that EA, of all companies, is embracing open source in the way that they are embracing it, it's kind of unfathomable. If you had told me before EA released the remastered collection that they would be doing anything with open source, I would have laughed in your face. But now, not only do they have the remastered collection available, they also have the full source code for 4 great CNC titles. This is a great first step. I mean, this is a year's worth of work from Luke here, CNC Hyper. And I gotta say, I love this. Now, notably, we are missing Command & Conquer Tiberian Sun and Red Alert 2 here. But from my understanding, the source code for those games has actually been lost to time. So that is a tragedy. We may never see those. But there are the later stage games, the games that came after Generals, like Tiberium Wars and Tiberium Twilight and Red Alert 3. It would be great to see those made open source. And perhaps there's someone out there, a former Command & Conquer developer, who might have source code backed up on a disk somewhere, long forgotten. And it would be awesome if they could find like Tiberian Sun, because frankly, Tiberian Sun is my favorite Command & Conquer game. But anyway, I don't know. I don't know how to end this video except to say I am still shocked that Electronic Arts is doing this, but I am grateful to them for doing it. Open source is the way forward for video games, for game preservation, and it's really cool to see EA doing stuff like this. Because now that it's out there, they can't take it back. Like it's GPL forever now, guys. And that's pretty neat. So that's going to do it for this video. Thank you very much for watching. I'll see you guys in the next one.